Yeah. Full court press. CJ. Yeah, what we talking about? 94 feet, crossover bodies, dropping J's up. Players this elite, your shots on body blocking halftime. Yeah. We break it down, we gon' call your bluff, it's past time. You recognize, boy, press. We got the heat down in Florida with the keys. Guess we the best. Magic, we flash with them fans listen, won't see the best. Show rise from the airwaves like all stars in them stairways. Local rockin', we not stopping, got hot topics like every day. Them trades hit that deadline. My team chasing the big range, we ball, check that headline. Don't mess it up when you pick teams, the only station giving y'all that info with that real talk. Don't be trying to contest it, go toe to toe and get wheeled off. We shooting from deeper than that report from the bleachers. If you ain't on your game, then we got something to teach you. Tie your laces up, might get shook up out of them sneakers. That triple threat, bless your eardrum straight out of your speakers. Go from that black top to the hardwood, locker room to that press day. Got the scoop on them contracts, new prospects and best plays. NBA defined by the grind, in between the lines, full court pressing, finessing, read the signs. What we talking about? 94 feet, crossover bodies.
Good morning. This is Dan Thompson bringing to you the Around the Association podcast, and this is the Wednesday edition for December 11th, 2019. And I'm your host, like I said, Dan Thompson. Checking with you a lot. Checking with you on this wonderful Wednesday morning. Before we get into the podcast this morning, before we talk about the 4 games in the NBA, check me out on Twitter at DannyDANNY, number 3 Thompson on Twitter, as well as AroundTheAssociation.com and the Around the Association Facebook page. Also, subscribe to this podcast, this daily podcast Monday through Friday, which is free of charge on every single podcast outlet you're going to find, which is places like Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, as well as Spreaker, Google Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podomatic. Any place you can find a podcast, you're going to find this one. So last night was a 4-game night in the NBA, so it's kind of a light night in the NBA. Most times Tuesdays are like that, but even though it was a light night on the actual number of games, there were a whole bunch of interesting ones. And we're going to start this one out. Normally, we would talk Sixers and Nuggets because that was the best game involving 2 teams with winning records. But we're going to actually start this edition of the show out in Miami. The Miami Heat took care of business last night over the Atlanta Hawks, 135-121 overtime. And this was an unconventional game of sorts. Well, at one point in the game, the Atlanta Hawks pretty much were up. They were up 6 points with 59 seconds left in the game. And it's supposedly Trae Young had walked back to the Atlanta bench screaming out it was over, and Jimmy Butler heard him. Well, what happened over the next 5 minutes of basketball was something I haven't seen in a while. Miami ended up scoring the next 22 points. Now, this extended from regulation through the first part of overtime. The Heat erased a 6-point lead with 59 seconds left in the game and then scored the first 16 points of overtime. The Heat continued their home winning streak. They're 11-0 at home, 18-6 overall. And the Heat won this game at home in one of the craziest stat games you will ever see in the NBA, especially in franchise history, and the Miami Heat's franchise histories. So let's start at the very top. Kendrick Nunn had a game-high 36 points for Miami to lead the effort. All right. Duncan Robinson had 34 points. So here's the thing with Duncan Robinson's 34 points. He tied a franchise record because he knocked down 10 3-pointers in the game. All right. On top of the fact of Kendrick Nunn's 36 points, which was I think a career high for Kendrick Nunn, here's the other part. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo both had triple doubles in the game. Adebayo finished the game with 30 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. And Jimmy Butler finished the game with 20 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 assists. Exactly. When I say crazy stat line galore, crazy stat line galore. Where do you start? I mean, Kendrick Nunn was 14 and 26 on the floor. He was perfect from a free throw line. Like I said, 36 points and 6 rebounds in 42 minutes. From the point guard position, like I said, and the Heat didn't have Goran Dragic. But then you could talk about Duncan Robinson knocking down 10 3-pointers on his own. He was 10 for 14 from the 3-point line, 12 of 16 from the floor. He didn't get to the free throw line a single time, but he knocked down 10 3-pointers in the game. And even with that, Bam Adebayo finished with 30 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. He was a nice little 13 of 18 from the floor and knocked down 4 of his 5 free throw attempts. Also had 4 offensive rebounds. But then Jimmy Butler had 20 points and 18 rebounds, 14 of them defensive rebounds with the 10 assists. The best part about it was Butler and Adebayo only combined for 7 turnovers to go along with their combined 21 assists. Miami finished the game with with 35 assists on, 53 made baskets. So it was a lot of ball spreading across the floor for Miami. The Hawks finished the game, was led on the night by Trae Young. Young had 21 points, 9 assists. He did have the team, DeAndre Hunter had a team high 28 in the game. But like I said, the Hawks were up. They had the game won. You're up by 6 points with 59 seconds left in the game. You're supposed to close it out. Heat finished the game with a 16-0 run. Started regulation overtime, scoring 22 straight points against the first 16 of overtime, and that pretty much was it at that point. The Heat stay undefeated at home at 11-0. Speaking of teams who continue to be undefeated at home, the Philadelphia 76ers continue their winning ways at home, 97-92 over the Denver Nuggets. Joel Embiid did his thing last night, looking at like the Embiid that we're supposed to be seeing on a regular nightly basis. He finished the game with 22 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, and a couple of steals in the game. Embiid was at his best tonight at times. Like I said, he closed the game out in dramatic and stylish fashion, a couple free throws at the end of the game. But like I said, it was a huge game, even though he didn't have the best finish. He didn't have the best finish in the world, and he had he missed a 3-pointer. And then at the end of the game, he missed a couple of shots, committed a turnover, and before hitting those free throws. But really, it was the Sixers defense that shut down the Nuggets towards the end of the game. Embiid did well against the 22 points. They got 20 from Tobias Harris, 13 from Masai Tibalali off the bench. Sixers have won 7 of the last 8. And like I said, they're a perfect 13-0 at home. Sixers did what they had to do to stay perfect at home. It was a little bit different than the effort they had the other night in Toronto. They couldn't figure out ways to score at the end. And what was it? The Nuggets were led by Will Barton, who had 26 points. Nikola Jokic, 15 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. Jamal Murray did leave the game early, only played 5 minutes. He left the game with what they call a trunk contusion. And he hopefully will be examined and will know his status for the Portland game sometime tomorrow, because they go back home to play Portland on Thursday night. Celtics and Sixers will play in Boston on Thursday with the next effort for them. Philadelphia has set is getting close to setting the franchise record. The 9 more wins to set the home franchise record to ways to start a season. Like I said, Sixers take care of business at home. Out in Charlotte, the Hornets survived career high 32 points from Davis Bertans as they hold off against the Washington Wizards 114-107 at home. Devontae Graham had 29 points in the game. Davis Bertans was hitting anything and everything from the 3-point line, knocked down 8 3-pointers off the bench. The Hornets got a huge game from, like I said, Devontae Graham. 4 of the 5 stars, all 5 stars, the Hornets had double figures. Like I said, Graham had 29 points and 6 assists. Terry Rozier completely filled the stat sheet, 17 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. And they got 14 points and 10 rebounds from Cody Zeller, 13 points and 15 rebounds from Bismack Biyombo. And the impressive stat of the Hornets tonight was PJ Washington, 15 points, 4 rebounds, but at plus 29 in the plus minus column, which means he had a very, very good and successful night. Wizards were led by 32 from Davis Bertans, like I said once again. Bradley Beal struggled from the floor, 6-19 to go for his 16 points. But really the big story was the fact that it was a good game defensively. Miles Bridges made some key plays defensively, especially trying to keep the super hot Bertans down late in the game. This was a back and forth affair, 20 lead changes to the game, so it was a really, really exciting game. Rui Hachimura had 18 points and 12 rebounds for the Wizards. The Wizards have lost 6 of the last 7. The thing was, it was the Hornets collapsing defense at the end of the game, because outside of Bertans' 8 3-pointers, the Wizards only hit 3 more as a team, and Bradley Beal was 0 for 7 from the 3-point line. Like I said, the Hornets, they kept fighting. Again, they kept fighting all night long. Give them a lot of credit. Marvin Williams, he got a lot of trade talks the last 24 to 48 hours. He did miss the game. And the good news is, the Hornets held the Wizards to 48 points the first half of the season, the fewest points allowed this season by the Hornets. So really good job on the defensive end. Like I said, Devontae Graham was hitting shots all over the floor. He had a huge game. Last but not least, the Portland Trail Blazers got a huge game from Speaking of huge games, Damian Lillard sent the Knicks to a 10th straight loss. Lillard had 31 points and pretty much sat most of the fourth quarter. Knicks fall again, 115-87. 10th straight loss for the Knicks. Lillard was phenomenal. In his bit of time he was in the court, 31 points, and I think he played 30 minutes. He played 29 minutes, 31 points. He knocked down, was 8 of 12 from the three-point line. They got 17 points and 15 rebounds from Hassan Whiteside. Carmelo Anthony gets his former team 16 points and 5 of 13 shooting. Knicks were led by Julius Randle with 15 points, 7 rebounds. Bobby Portis had double-double off the bench with 11 points and 10 rebounds. But like I said, this game wasn't close. Portland led from pretty much the early part of the first quarter through the rest of the game. Blazers has much as a 32-point lead in the game. Most of the Blazers got plenty of rest. They're going to need it before Denver on Thursday. The Knicks have just struggled. The team is still in disarray, and you can tell this was not a good effort from the Knicks, but one of the Knicks had a good effort. Good news for Portland fans, they bounced back from a 22-point loss at home to Oklahoma City on Sunday. They started, Rodney Hood tore his Achilles in that game, and his replacement in the starting lineup tonight was Kent Bazemore, 4 points and 3 rebounds in his 21 minutes. Anthony Simons had a huge game off the bench, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and also knocked down 4 3-pointers off the bench. Blazers finished the game shooting the 3-point ball pretty well. They knocked down 17 threes in the game. Even Carmelo got in the action, 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. Knicks struggled to shoot the basketball, 7 of 38 from the 3-point line, and shot an abysmal 35% from the floor. That's your Tuesday night games. Now, Wednesday is a busier night in the NBA, 11 games on the schedule. I'm going to give you a quick overview of all the games that you're going to be watching on Wednesday night. Game of the night, of course, will be in Toronto. This is the Kawhi Leonard homecoming game. The return of Kawhi Leonard to Toronto, the place where he helped the Raptors win a championship. The Clippers are 18-7. Leonard should be available because he missed the game on Monday against the Raptors, who are now becoming healthy again. This should be fun. This is the ESPN game at 7 o'clock. Must-watch television. Now, the other ESPN game will be not so much must-watch television. The Bucks will continue their winning streak, hopefully at home against the New Orleans Pelicans. Bucks have won 15 straight. They're 21-3, tied for the best record in the NBA with the Los Angeles Lakers. Pelicans are still trying to figure out how to stay as much afloat as they can until Zion Williamson comes back. And yes, Zion, even though they're saying he's not going to be the savior, he's going to be a difference maker. Bucks should be able to roll in this one. Speaking of the Lakers, as we start the rest of the games around the league, the Lakers will travel to Orlando to continue their road winning streak as they take on the Magic. Magic lost their last game to the Bucks on Monday. They had won 4 games in a row. This will be a huge test for the Magic because of the fact of they need to stay afloat till Nikola Vucevic comes back sometime this month. Rockets and Cavs game will be on NBA League Pass. A very fun game to watch. It's going to be up and down affair. Expect James Harden to just go nuts against the Cavs defense. That's going to try to be stuck to stop him. It'll be real interesting to watch Clint Capella and Tristan Thompson go back and forth. 2 of the best rebound guys in the NBA. Pacers and Celtics will be at Indianapolis at 7 o'clock. Pacers they're playing some solid basketball of late. The Celtics have been cruising. They got Gordon Hayward back. The Celtics are getting themselves right back to where they should be. Celtics have won 6 of their last 7, and during the winning streak, 3 of those games have won by over 13 points. And like I said, Hayward had 14 points and 5 rebounds in his return back to the Celtics lineup. You got Charlotte and Brooklyn. Like I said, Charlotte won on Tuesday night. We'll go against a Brooklyn team. They just played a couple nights ago. They're going to need Brooklyn's going to need every bit of offense possible in their game. They just play a couple days ago with the Nets winning by 7 inside of Charlotte. They could not stop Joe Harris from the 3-point line. He had a game high 22. Devontae Graham had 29 in their last effort. Like I said, Graham is playing some of the best basketball he's ever played in his career. It is definitely for the Buzz. Hawks and Bulls. Hawks are going to try to figure out how to bounce back after blowing the game last night in Miami against the Bulls team that's been consistent. They've been wildly inconsistent. This could be a game where Trae Young can go completely off against an unstable backcourt, especially the point guard position in Chicago. Jazz and Timberwolves. Jazz will be without Mike Conley once again against a Timberwolves team that just came off an abysmal road trip. This is a game that the Timberwolves need to win at home, especially if no Mike Conley's in the lineup. Now, when Mike Conley's out of the lineup, then Joe Ingles comes into much more a playmaking role, so watch Donovan Mitchell's scoring numbers go completely up. Grizzlies Suns will be out in Phoenix at 9 o'clock. Suns are still getting close to that 500 mark. They're 1 game under. They're actually tied for the 7th spot in the Western Conference in the playoff hunt. Ja Morant and Brandon Clark should be a go for the Grizzlies. In this one, we'll know more towards tip-off. They're keeping an eye on both of those guys, especially for the long-term management of long-term management of those guys and their injuries. Out in Sacramento, this would be a game that's really important in the standings right now. Kings and Thunder will be out in Sacramento. Both teams are one game apart in the standings. The Thunder are now the 7th seed in the playoff chase, while the Kings are on the outside looking in. The real question is, will Marvin Bagley be available? The Kings could use him. We're not sure if he's going to be available. Dennis Schroeder's playing some really, really good basketball, especially shooting the basketball. The team's 3-game winning streak. He had 27 against the Jazz on Monday night. If the Kings are able to get back Marvin Bagley, that's going to be a huge boost, especially after winning a buzzer beater on Houston on Monday night. They're going for a 3rd consecutive win. Nahima Bjelica hit a 3-point into the game. Buddy Yield's been knocking down shots, Buddy buckets. Like I said, if they can get Marvin Bagley back, it would be a phenomenal boost to the front line. Nothing against Rashard Holmes, but when you have a guy who's like Bagley, it allows Holmes to be even more dangerous coming off the bench. Late games, the final late game on Wednesday night will be the Knicks and the Warriors. Well, somebody's got to win this game. Knicks were blown out last night in Portland, and they're going to play a Golden State team that's not very good either. 2 of the worst teams in the NBA will take place at Chase Center. The good news is the Warriors not the worst team in the NBA. The Knicks have actually passed them. So you've caught up on the entire night in the NBA, and now you know what's going on with the 11 games on Wednesday night. So follow me on Twitter at DannyD8NY, number 3 Thompson on Twitter, as well as Around the Association's Facebook page and AroundTheAssociation.com. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, recapping all 11 games of the NBA. So we'll check you guys tomorrow. My man Cam James is going to send you out. Trackaholic. Peace.
Trackaholic music.
Go for launch.
Yeah. Full court pressure. CJ. Yeah. What we talking about?